What is Mordred's victory and other martial mutterings? My name is Jamie Clubb. This is the Club Chimera Martial Arts channel. If you like the content of this video, please like, subscribe and leave a comment below. So, Mordred's Victory and Other Martial Mutterings were a collection of articles that I had published in 2014. They cover the years 2004 through to 2014, which were the years that I ran a martial arts club. Back in 2012, Hock Hockheim, who I met for the first time in a seminar, suggested that I collect together my martial arts articles and get them into print. They'd already been published in various different formats, and this was a chance just to cover the period of time when I first began writing in mainstream martial arts magazines and media. The articles are divided up into 4 different sections. There is the martial mutterings themselves, which are a miscellaneous collection of ideas at the beginning. Then there is a section on self-protection, and then there's a section on children's self-protection, and finally there's a section on training and training reflections. The book is not a manual of any description, although there is a lot of advice on different activities, different training methods that I've used and things that I've found to be useful in teaching. The central article, that is Mordred's Victory, is found in the Martial Muttering section, the first section, and is a discussion on fight personalities. I used it as the lead piece purely because fight personalities was a reoccurring theme I noticed through the whole time I taught a regular club. I read an article many years ago where someone was describing the dangers of being very naturally predisposed to martial arts training. So you've got people who we sometimes consider to be naturals, and I appreciate there's a lot of debate with regards to what is a natural. But somebody who has got the right mental and physical abilities, that they are easy to adapt to martial arts training. So they do very well, and things go swimmingly for them until they encounter an individual who just doesn't give in. Okay, so these types of individuals that don't give in, sometimes they can also be people with natural attributes, and in fact at the high levels we find this a lot. But what I was intrigued with was this concept about where you'd get one person who was very naturally strong, flexible, coordinated, and they'd come up against an opponent who might not be naturally as advantaged as the person they're fighting, but they just had this incredible resilience, but almost to the point where it was self-destructive. As far as they were concerned, they had one thing in mind, and that was to win, to succeed, to survive, and they just kept pushing forward. And that sort of thing is often celebrated in a lot of fiction. The Rocky films is a classic example of that, and I start the article with a quote straight from Rocky 2, which describes a character called Duke Evans, who's Apollo Creed, the Rocky's opponent in the first 2 films. It's his coach, and he describes the problem that a fighter like Apollo, very much a natural, sort of a Muhammad Ali type of character, who's the perfect outboxer, that sort of problem that they will incur when fighting somebody who just takes loads of punishment but just keeps coming forward.
He's all wrong for us, baby. I saw you beat that man like I never saw no man get beat before, and the man kept coming after you. And we don't need that kind of man in our life.
And again, it's revisited in some of the other Rocky films as well. And Muhammad Ali used to call these sort of people catchers, where you'd have an opponent who just would not stop. So that became my idea, my concept of the Arthur and the Mordred. So in Arthurian mythology, you've got King Arthur being the chosen one, if you like. Everything about him is affection in many ways of what a king was supposed to be, certainly in medieval terms, or even prior to that, depending on how far back you believe the mythology goes. And you've got a Mordred who is his antagonist. This is the person who in the story, in the mythology, is destined to destroy this perfect person. Now, I appreciate that, people come back to me and say, well, in the King Arthur mythology, King Arthur was not perfect. He had certain failings, certain mistakes, certain hubris. But for the most part, he is the superhero of the story. And he's certainly got an awful lot of things going for him. Whereas Mordred there's very different interpretations on who Mordred was. But in the end, you've got this antagonist who is willing to kill himself in order to destroy the hero, and of course that sort of person is incredibly dangerous. This is the kamikaze mindset. This is this single force of nature, and I found it in a lot of very famous boxers who were just absolutely determined, and almost to the point where it was a religious experience for them to be able to take down this opponent. You certainly see this kind of dynamic happen between the Muhammad Ali and Smoking Joe Frazier dynamic. So I chose Mordred's Victory as the lead article because fight personalities within combative situations, both self-protection or a combat sport situation, crop up all the time. It was a thing that used to come up in our end of class discussions. We talk about fight personalities. And that also is reflected in some of the later articles, the solo training, the overcoming injuries, this whole thing about character. And a lot of my most influential coaches, a lot of the teachers who gave me the most in my training time, were particularly keen to emphasize the importance of forging character, that personality, that character. These were the things that would matter the most in your martial arts training. These are things that would keep you training, and most important for your own survival and also for living a fulfilling life. So it seemed only appropriate that Mordred's Victory, even though it's got a very unusual name, and I know my first publisher, when this book was first published as an ebook, wasn't keen on it as a title, and he even said on reflection, it's not a great title. It's not a grabber. But I've stuck with it because it means a lot to me, and I think it encapsulates a lot of what I went through within those 10 years when I was teaching a club. You'd see these two different personalities develop, through the training, and it just kept pushing me towards looking at activities that would bring these the good characteristics of that out, the good attributes of that out. So that in essence is what inspired me to use the Mordred's Victory as the lead article, what I think is the prevailing inspiration over the collection. Anyway, it's out in paperback now. If you'd like a signed copy from me, please get directly in contact on the email address, jamie@clubchimera.com. It'll be in the link, it'll be in the video. Get in contact with me. I look forward to hearing from you soon.